Well, hello everyone. This is Carrie Beck with How to Homeschool My Child and Life Skills Leadership Summit. I am back again. I've already talked to you earlier today about 4 steps to raising kids to be leaders and influencers. And I'm here to come back and talk about step number 1 in a little bit more detail and give you some resources that I think will be helpful. So, I am going to go ahead and put something in the comments because I'm usually a little slow with that. Anyway, what we want to do today is talk about character, the foundation of character. If you want to raise your kids to lead and to influence, they need to be able to have godly character. So, how do we do that? I'm going to share some ideas with you. Before I do that, I want to introduce my family to you. And you're probably going, okay, there's snow back there. We're finished with winter. This week in Texas, there was so much snow, not just snow, but really cold weather, 6 degrees where I was, and where my kids were, it was like 0 degrees. So I left the snow up one more time. Tomorrow it will change and my background will be different. But today I want to talk about character. And so before I do that, let me just introduce my family to you. These are my 3 grandgirls because I've been using some old pictures. So we have Elizabeth and Faith, they are sisters, and then Landry is in the middle. This was at Thanksgiving time. And then this picture isn't really very big, but it will at least introduce you to the kids. So we've got a few of them. We went to Yogi Bear Park, and so it's sort of hard to see, but let's see. Here is Ashley right here. She's married to Jesse, and then they have Faith and Elizabeth. And all of my kids, we homeschooled for 10 years, just so you know what's going on. Then we have Gentry and Andrew with little Landry. She's sort of being held right there in the middle between Yogi. And Hunter's our baby right there at the top. He was holding Landry. This is another picture of us just at Thanksgiving, but Hunter's not in there, so I wasn't using that particularly. Why do I show you this? Because I want you to know the things that I say come from real life. I'm not just making this up. It's not like I've got preschoolers and I'm trying to tell you how to deal with kids. My kids are grown and we're sort of redoing it again, and I'm experiencing it again, especially with these 3 kids. And it's I have fun doing it because I'm getting to do some fun things, but I'm also reminded of some of the character issues. One of the issues that one of the girls wrote on here was kids not listening and feeling like you have to repeat yourself over and over again. And that isn't a good skill. That we want to get past that. So let's talk about that for a minute. I wrote, I think, either on this post or the post before, that the word I think you need to remember is consistency. And that is hard. And I remember, because I mean, I would hear that. I'm like, yeah, but they're in the middle of having a temper tantrum. And what am I going to do? Because I've already solved 10 other problems that day with the older kids. So what do we do? So here are just some ideas. One, I wished I had prayed a little bit more about that, and I that God would just give me wisdom. And over time I realized that he did start to give me wisdom. And so I started to depend on him to actually show me what to say. But when it comes to consistency, it is important that we don't count to 3. Counting to 3 just means you're not enforcing what you just said you're going to do. You want to be consistent. You want to do the same thing with each kid consistently. Now, I understand that some kids, okay, whether you agree with spanking or not, let's just say some kids are going to respond to spanking, another child isn't going to respond to that. So we do need to realize that sometimes our rewards and our consequences are going to be different, but the standard we have in our home is consistent. It is the same for everyone. In other words, in our home, you did not, I mean, there were a lot of gray areas, but you did not lie and you did not disrespect your mother. Those 2 were instant consequences. For us, those were instant spankings. Other things were different. I know some people don't agree with spankings. I'm not going to go into why we believe or not, but that was something that was automatic. If we found our kids lying or disrespecting mom, me, there was an immediate consequence. There was no discussion about it. Other things we talked about. Because the thing about it is when we are building, we want to build character, we also are building relationships with our kids. Because when you build relationships with your kids, you are not a dictator telling them. Just like God wants a relationship with him, he is not a dictator to us telling us, yes, you have to do this. He loves us and he wants us to be a better person. He wants to have a better relationship with us. The reason that you are responding to your kids is because you want to have a better relationship. You love them. You want them to grow up to be a better person. So consistency. Now, this may sound like a sort of a crude illustration, but just listen to me. If I can train my dog to not get on the couch, should be able to train my kids. Now, my dog is going to keep trying over and over. And if 9 out of 10 times I let them get on the couch, they're going to keep trying over and over because I wasn't consistent all the time. Now, I'm not saying our kids are like dogs. I'm just saying that if we can train an animal that is not near as smart as our kids, we should be able to train our children as well. How could you be consistent? One thing that I found was using the Bible. What I did was I had verses on arguing, let's say. And so when they were arguing, we would open the Bible and then we would read a verse. And then I would say, what is God saying about arguing? It says, be ye kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another. I don't hear anything about arguing. He is telling us to be kind and to forgive others. And so that was our standard. I would keep going back. When they were young, I would choose the verses. When they were older, I would say, you know what, y'all been arguing, or you're being selfish, or you have lied. We need to go and look and find the Bible. What does God have to say about that? Some of that helped me because what did that do? It wasn't just mom saying it. It was God saying it. It wasn't like I was blaming it on God, but I was saying the Bible, and I wish I had my Bible here. The Bible is our standard of why we do what we do. Yes, we have our family rules, but we always want to enforce God's rules. Now, one way that you can do this, and this is just something that I came up with because I wished I had had a resource that would help me stay consistent. One thing you could do is for each of the sins or the things that you're having problems with, write it down and write your verse and pop it on the refrigerator. And that way, when they're arguing, I'm just picking on arguing because our arguing page that had verses on it has crayon marks, then it's got pencil marks. I mean, I still have it back from when the kids were little because that was something we really had a hard time dealing with. But I had verses that I could go to and I didn't have to think like this. So if you have something, if your kid's lying, find a verse or two that they will talk about telling the truth and lying. And when they lie, there's a consequence. You go look at the verse on the refrigerator. When they tell the truth, there is a reward for them as well. We do want to reinforce good behavior. We don't just do it for the reward, but sometimes we just get them started with that. God gives us rewards because he knows that motivates us. So I don't have a problem rewarding my kids for good behavior because I'm just modeling it after God, the way that he is going to reward me. Sure, it's not quite the same because he is God and I am not. Now, another thing you could do is we have some charts right here that I have created, and they are called the character training charts, following God. And for each one of these, this is truthful and cheating, generous and stealing, diligent and lazy. So if you have a kid that's not working and not listening, this is what we want to go to and we want to talk about. Forgiving, revenge, compassionate, bully, peacemaker, and fighting. For each one of these, we have a verse. So truthful, here's your verse. So stop telling lies. Let us tell our neighbors the truth, for we are all parts of the same body. For cheating, remember to sin, to know what you ought to do, then not do it. And then there is space under here for you as a family to decide this is the reward for telling the truth. This is the consequence for cheating. So I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just giving you verses and then you as a family choose it because you know what works best with your family. If you're not sure, on the back of each chart, we have suggestions. There is this chart on how to act right. There's another one about speaking right. So this is thankful and complaining. Confess your sins, make excuses. And then this is one on doing right and wrong, making peace and arguing. So we have all of these, and the verses, you don't have to use these, but to me it's a great way. You can just sort of pick it up and use it. I was looking for our samples of our mini charts. We also have mini charts, and what I've done for the mini charts is, let's say you're working on arguing. It is just this part right here, and you just print it out and you work on one character quality, the positive and the negative, the obedient and the disobedient one. Then we have honest and lying. You might work on that. You know what you're working on with your kids. And so we have mini charts for these as well. Now, I didn't even bring the whole thing. this is just a way that you can stay consistent, because if you have already decided ahead of time what the reward is, what the consequence is, then you can be consistent with your kids. And when something happens, you're not just making it up. I felt like I was constantly, okay, I'm walking in the bedroom. What am I going to do? And so I had to think. Now, having said that, I had a conversation with my son last week. Actually, it was an interview that will air next week at the Life Skills Leadership Summit. And we were talking, this is Hunter and me. So he's 28. And he was talking about sort of retraining our brain and sort of thinking clearly and getting God's focus. And I was like, yeah, but these moms, they're like, my kid's screaming in the other room. I don't have time to just sit and listen to God. And you are right. But I can tell you what you can do walking from here to the bedroom. I would tell you two things. One, take a deep breath. Believe it or not, oxygen, filling your lungs with oxygen can clear your head and give you a positive way to think. And then number two, shoot a quick popcorn prayer. God, I don't know what to do, but I need your help. So would you please give me wisdom with these kids? Would that take me 10 seconds to say to God? The whole point is we have to pay attention to what's going on, and we don't just react. We already have thought. We are going to act. We're going to take a moment, a breath, and then we're going to turn to God as well. So, looks like the light went off on here or something. So these are a few things. Let me just tell you that if you are interested in our character training charts, they come as a kit, a character training toolkit, and individually they're $35. You get 3 charts that are downloadable so you can use them with your family. You get a audio podcast as well about being consistent and achieving peace. And then you get my good manner book. It is Teaching Good Manners for Busy Moms, and it gives you all sorts of ways that you can teach your kids good manners, because manners are just an expression of good behavior. And so all of that, if you bought it individually, is $35. But I've got a special deal for you this weekend only, and that is $15. So you can save 57%. And I have the comment in there. It says Top Feb. You can go to that website, use that code through Sunday night, and you will actually be able to only pay $15 for this character training toolkit. Why am I sharing all of this about character training? Because if you were on my last video, I told you there are 4 steps to raising our kids to be leaders who influence well and who have the skills, the life skills to live out correctly. And step number 1 is a foundation of character. That is what we want to train our kids. That's what my goal was. And so consistency is what will lead, I think, to you being able to build good character as well. First, you need to know what the good character is. Then you need to be consistent in that. And so that's one reason I'm telling you. The other reason is next week we have our Life Skills Leadership Summit. I talked a little bit about it, and there are 5 days. Day 2 is completely on, well, the leadership track is all on character. The life skills is on something else, like communication or self-care, relationship, or something like that. So every day we have a leadership track and we have a life skills track. The leadership track actually covers leadership education, life character, love of learning, and lifetime learners, independent learning and how to think, and then mom and dad encouragement. The life skills actually show up, and we're going to talk about, not me, I got 30 plus speakers, we got 60 plus sessions. You can get a free ticket to this too. So I'll put that link in there as well. But the other thing would be communication skills, public speaking, relationships and team building, business skills, computer skills, time management, self-care. There is a lot out there to help you. And it's not just for you, it's also for your teens. We want your teens to be prepared. We want them to have that foundation of character and then grow into lifetime learners that can think for themselves, but they also have all the real life skills as well. Communication, team building, relationships, entrepreneurialism, whatever. So that's all next week. If you want to get a free ticket, it is Life Skills Leadership summit.com/top, lifeskillsleadershipsummit.com/top. One day, day 2, we'll have all our workshops on character. So thanks for spending time with me. I am Carrie Beck with Life Skills Leadership Summit and How to Homeschool My Child. Have a great day.